Hi, my name is Trevor, and today we are going to build a privacy policy for your website. And no, it won't be as bad or as boring as it sounds, hopefully. All right, so today we are going to build a privacy policy using Termageddon's privacy policy generator. Now, for the sake of this video today, we are just going to focus on the privacy policy. We do have a video where we do all of the Termageddon process, so everything from making an account to buying your first license, to building out all of the policies in the cookie consent banner, and then embedding all those onto your website. Now, that's about a 50-minute video, and I will link it in the description below. But for the sake of this video, we are just going to focus on the privacy policy. So the first question you're probably going to ask is why Termageddon? There are a lot of privacy policy generators out there, and it can be a little bit nerve-wracking to choose the right one for you. The main reason most of our customers really enjoy Termageddon, and the fact that we're coming up on, I think, 10,000 web agencies and web designers that are now partnered with us to protect their clients, is just because of how comprehensive we are. Now, what does that even mean, comprehensive? I mean, we actually went through and calculated all the laws, rules, and regulations that we cover, and it turned out to be over 120, which is insane. I think the next highest from our competitors is 30. So the reason we're able to do this is actually because of our president, Donata. She is a licensed attorney and a privacy professional. I mean, she's worked with the likes of the United Nations, the American Bar Association. She's a big reason why we were the first privacy policy generator approved by the International Association of Privacy Professionals. So she's a big reason for why we are as comprehensive as we are and why so many people trust us to protect their website. So you've decided that Termageddon is the right fit for you. What you're going to do is you're going to go to termageddon.com, go to policies, select privacy policy generator, and it'll bring you to this page right here. You can click this button or any of the buttons down below, and it will take you to a sign-up form. Now, once you've actually filled out that form, it'll bring you to this page here where you can actually purchase a license. Now, you'll have the option to choose monthly or annually. Annually is our most popular just because you save a few dollars here and there. And you will notice that we are actually a subscription-based service. That's because we don't only just build a privacy policy for you, but we keep that privacy policy updated as laws change or new laws go into effect. For example, today is October 2nd. Yesterday, we actually had a new privacy law go into effect. It was Maryland's privacy law. And we actually had Montana, which went into effect in 2024. They had a bunch of changes to their privacy law that went into effect yesterday as well. So we keep an eye out for things like that. And based on the questions that you answer throughout our generation process, we can kind of tell if those privacy laws or changes are going to apply to you, and we will notify you if that's the case. And that way we can keep your policies updated as all these laws change, so you don't have to really worry about them moving forward. People want to think about privacy policies as little as possible, and this kind of lets you do that. Each license is good for one website, so it'll give you all the policies you need to protect one website and a cookie consent solution. Now, again, for the sake of this video, we are just going to focus on the privacy policy. So let's take our first license here and go assign now. This is going to be for a website, and we will call it privacypolicytest.com. Super exciting website. Now, this is going to be where you can actually see all the policies we offer, and we kind of help you determine if you need them by explaining if your website does this, you might want to select yes here. We also have this nifty Termaguider over here onto the side that will basically help you answer all of these questions. We have one of these for everything on our generator. You can not only read it, but you can also click here. And Hans pops up, and he explains what's going on with this question and how you might want to answer it. So again, we're just doing a privacy policy today, so we're going to pretend like none of these apply to us. So we'll just click yes to privacy policy, come down and click next. And this is where the generator will actually start asking you questions about your business so that it knows what laws apply to you and what to put in the privacy policy. So a person owns this company. We'll just say Trevor Termageddon. We do not have nonprofit status. We are in the U.S. The company's in Chicago, but I am in Tennessee. I'll say Hamilton. 1, 2, 3. Wackadoo Lane. 555. And Trevor at privacypolicytest.com. Click next. Do you do business in any U.S. states or territories? Let's say I have an e-commerce site. So for the sake of this, we'll just say it's an e-commerce site. I will sell t-shirts to any of the U.S. states or territories. So I will go ahead and just select all, so I don't have to go through and manually insert each one. Do you collect the personal information of residents of U.S. states or territories? Now, this is actually more common than even the first question, because collecting personal information just means, do you collect the name, email address, IP address of people in any U.S. state or territory? So let's say someone from a different state can come to your website and sign up for a newsletter. You might be collecting their email address or their IP address, or you use Google Analytics and people from any of these territories can come to your website. You're still collecting personal information, that being their IP address via Google Analytics, let's say. So this is actually pretty common for, unless you actually have restrictions on who can visit your website from certain areas, it's pretty common for this to be select all. So do you have an annual gross revenue of $25 million or more? I wish, but no. Now you'll see from this so far, it's kind of gone ahead and selected the laws that for sure apply. And then it asks some additional questions here and there. So do you control or process personal information of 25,000 or more Virginia residents? Like, you'll go through here and kind of glance through, and if any of these apply to you, you will select yes. So, and this might sound like a big number, but like 10,000, let's say you have a company that is either in Delaware or borders Delaware, and you have a lot of Delaware residents visiting your website. You might be collecting some personal information from them, whether it be email addresses, IP addresses. So it's more common than you might think for one of these to apply. So you do want to glance through here and see if they do. And if they do, you might get asked a few follow-up questions as well, just to make sure we get everything taken care of. So, but for the sake of making this easier, I'm going to leave the rest of the states blank. And there's Maryland right there. See, we already have it on here, and it went into effect yesterday. So we get all these into place before the law goes into effect, not after. So this has been ready to go for a long time. And then we have additional countries right here. So we'll say yes to GDPR because I ship t-shirts over to the EU. Same with the UK, same with Canada, same with Australia. So we'll just say yes to all of those for the sake of this. Have you signed a contract requiring you to comply with any of the privacy laws listed above? Very popular to answer no here because that's not a very common thing to do. All right, this is where you select all the functionalities of your website. So let's say I'm doing ads via Facebook pixels or meta pixels. I've got analytics and I am using Google Analytics, let's say, for this. We are using WordPress. Let me select a few more here. We use e-commerce. I mentioned that before. We have a contact us form, hosting. Let's say we link to third-party websites. We got social media embed features and video embeds, and security and spam prevention. Perfect. Click next. And this is actually new for our privacy policy generator, and we're very proud of it. Again, we're very comprehensive. There's a lot of questions asked, but we kind of determined based on all the questions that have been asked so far that we can pretty accurately guess what the next ones are going to be. You are going to need to go through each one individually and make sure it does apply to you, just to be as safe as possible. But this is pretty accurate and pretty good way to speed up the process. So we'll click continue. All right, there we go. And you will see here that these have all been automatically selected for me. And it tells you why over here, because I said that we do e-commerce. So you probably collect billing addresses. I said that we do advertising. So you got browsing history. You'll see not only why it's pre-selected, but what I selected before that makes them think it should be pre-selected. So pretty cool that this is now an option. It does speed up some time. You'll notice none of these have been selected because it's not very common for them to be obtained based on what I've answered so far. I will confirm that none of this stuff is actually collected based on what I'm doing. So, and that brings us here to data type questions. Now, you'll see that these have already been selected and good to go. A cool thing though is if either of these are not, like let's say you made a change on the last page and one of these needs to be added to, you can copy from something else, which actually speeds up this process. So you can copy the same selections, like the purpose for collecting, because these can get pretty complicated. Like it could be any of this stuff. See, this is all stuff we answered previously. But yeah, you'll see all of this stuff is now good to go. I don't have to do anything else here. It's just kind of confirming that nothing has been changed. So kind of glance down the left here, make sure they're all checked. If they are, you're good to go. All that stuff, again, was filled out based on things we've already answered in this generator. And then you're on 8 of 8, remaining questions. This is where it's going to ask you a final few questions before it can generate your privacy policy. So does your website collect cookies? For the sake of this, we're going to say no, because we don't really want to worry about the cookie consent banner and all that stuff, cookie policy. But you'll see here that it brings up a little note that you might be collecting cookies based on previous answers. Do you knowingly collect personal information of children under the age of 18? We'll say no. That's not very common. Do you sell any information that you have collected? This is actually a good time to bring up the difference between selling and sharing data. Sharing data is very common. So it's like if you have a newsletter, you share people's email address with whoever your email provider is, or you're sharing IP addresses with Google Analytics. Selling data is like, here's a email list of 150 emails, and I want $20 for it, or whatever it might be. Sharing, common. Selling, not common. How long do you store the information provided? We'll say until something happens and we no longer need it, or unsubscribe. Or user, say your user unsubscribes. I can't spell. There it is. Do you use the information for direct marketing? We will say nope. Do you use the information you collect for automated decision making? Nope. And again, if you have any questions about this, you'll see on the side here, the Termageddon will answer or better explain why you might answer yes or no to each of these questions. So if you're not sure, check out the Termageddon over here. Super helpful tool. You'll either see my face or Hans's face. We both do these over here. So do you use information that you collect for profiling? We'll say no. How do you protect the personal information that you collect? I'll just go through and select a few of these. Perfect. Would you like to include links to your policies, procedures, and standards or codes in your privacy policy? We will select no to that. Does your website respond to do not track signals? We'll select no to that. And you will see occasionally we'll have this popular note right here next to the options. We do that only for the questions that are extremely uncommon. So it's really uncommon for yes to be answered here. So in what country or countries do you process personal information collected on your website? We'll just say the United States. We'll say no here. Do you have a data protection officer? We will say no to that. What information will a consumer need to provide to verify their identity or request to exercise their rights? We'll make them give their name. We'll say their email address and maybe whatever product they purchased from us or service they got from us. Who's accountable for your privacy practices and policies? What's cool about this is you can actually copy previous answers. So I listed all this information previously in the generator. Who would you like to offer privacy rights to? I would like to offer privacy rights to everyone that visits my website, even if they're not provided those rights by law. You know, privacy for everyone, right? And we'll just copy the information there as well. Save some time. How will I notify users to this privacy policy changes? By posting the updated privacy policy to my website, and I'll send them an email. And voila, the policies are good to be embedded onto your website. Now, you can do that in two different ways. Now, if you're comfortable doing it yourself, or if you want to follow our step-by-step instructions, you can click here. And then we have the code right here. And you will see we have some styling options as well for how you want the thing to look on your website. But you can copy this code, embed it on yourself using these instructions if you need them. Or you can share it with your web designer or web agency. So if you have a web designer who does all the stuff to your website, you can either share a link to that web designer or web agency or share via email. And you'll see both of those options provide you with these right here. So you can give them just how much control as you want. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Once you get this embed code put onto your website, you're going to have a privacy policy. I can show you what one will look like just by using ours right here. So yeah, right here you can see this is one we just recently had it updated. You'll see it's very comprehensive as you scroll down here, but it's still very easy to read and very easy to navigate. So you can find the stuff that you need to find pretty easily, but you can still get down into the weeds of things. Each of these you'll see has a whole lot of information underneath it. Your policy should look something like this when it is all said and done. And anytime there's anything that needs to be changed, we can do that automatically via that embed code. So all this text will actually change automatically. So That's why I highly recommend using Termageddon to build not all of your policies, but especially your privacy policy. And yeah, if you found this video helpful, leave a like and comment. And yeah, if you need the full video of how to get this stuff embedded, again, I will link that down in the description below. Thanks.